Today we are talking about feminine power mastery and how that ties into executive leadership training with Miss Charidee Smith, Miss Mogul. Charidee is an advocate for women's businesses and economic power. She's a conduit of information and mentoring for women. She serves on various boards, amplifying women's voices in businesses to legislatures. She champions funding and opportunities for women to build sustainable and viable economic power. For over a decade, she has been known as Miss Mogul and has utilized keynote speaking opportunities, leadership development, keynote speaking for business startups and for growth, and just really has been very plugged into the women in business community. So we are so excited to have you on with us to share of your knowledge and expertise today. And also, I just want to say thank you for being that voice to champion for us in business. We need it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here. And to your point, we can't lay back on our laurels. We have earned quite a bit of space and market space, but we still have a long way to go when it comes to women's leadership in certain spheres of life. So we can't just lay back and hope that things will happen. We've got to be a conduit to make it happen.
Yes, and we have to do that together. It's a journey that it's so much harder if we do it alone, and yet every time we come together, we can make a great impact. So that's our whole purpose here today, and I'm so glad that you get to be a part of it.
Me too.
Okay, we're going to dive in and really deep dive into women's leadership. So what do you think is one of the primary challenges to women's leadership today in 2020?
I would say now it's relevance. And let me qualify what I mean by that. So I believe that we're working with a bit of an antiquated model right now. So much of what we have done in the quote unquote women's movement or in women's leadership has been primarily social or primarily political, but we have yet to really bring all of those powers, if you will, those platforms together. And the one that's really lagging behind is the economic development piece. We haven't really addressed that. So some statistics here that may sound dire, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm hopeful. Today, still, women are only earning 60 cents on the dollar, according to the Department of Labor. We're still only earning 60 to 80 cents on the dollar as opposed to our male counterparts. And when you break down those figures, Amy, when you include race and class in that, it becomes more disparaging with women of color. Latinas are still making 40 to 50 cents on the dollar. African-American women have made some strides, so have Asian women. However, we still have yet to earn the full dollar for the full effort. And so I think we need to kind of rethink what we call success and rethink what we call the women's movement and start now changing the narratives on that. And here's what I mean by that. I fully believe that once we redefine what success is, Amy, it's going to change the trajectory of how we even approach legislation for lending for women. It's going to change how we approach social platforms, how we approach lobbyists. It's going to change everything once we redefine what success is for us. And I think that society and our own experiences, even this platform, is helping us to redevelop and perhaps redefine what our narratives are. And so once we have a real grasp on that, then we can start to impact legislation when it comes to lending for women in small business. And this is another discussion, but I don't even like to use the term small business when we talk about our enterprises. Just look at the definition itself. Small means it's in a cage, right? Has some predetermined boundaries, and it doesn't go past that. And I think we limit ourselves even with those labels. Now that's a whole different discussion, and you didn't bring me on for that one. But even with that, we have to redefine our enterprise. Why are we still defining ourselves as minorities? Women, I'm talking about. Why are women still defined as minorities in the 21st century? We have to take ownership of our own narratives. Once we take ownership of those narratives, we can then start to create some movement and some synergy and some real momentum when it comes to economic development and economic equality. But we have to own it first.
So you're going to get me a little bit fired up here. So there
Come
are a
on with
couple
it.
things, that I look at and I go, why have we not gotten this yet?
Yeah.
So one of them is that men have, and I get it, they've been in this arena for a long time, but
Yes.
men do a really good job at positioning each other and opening up doors for each other. And I have never heard a man say, I'm starting this business because I just want to make a little bit of money. Right? Like a man never starts a business with
Ever.
a small vision. They
Ever.
start a business with a big vision and a big desire and a big belief, and they go out there and they sell it in a really big way. And I'm guilty of this too. When I launched my business, my whole vision was I hoped I could earn a six-figure income. Well,
Hmm.
guess what? I structured a business that could only support a six-figure income. It didn't have the structure for seven figures because it never occurred to me that I should have thought of that in the
There
beginning.
you
So
go.
I
There you
wish we
go.
could start with like a bigger vision and purpose of what's there for us. And then the other thing is this whole divide between women of color and white women and Hispanic women. Like I can't understand why we would put together conferences and not bring us all to the party, so that, because this conference right here, you guys,
Yeah.
it's better because we've had Latina women and because we've had Black women and because we have women of different ages. It's better because we're all learning from each other versus
Absolutely.
if we're all coming from the same place and the same standpoint. So I
Exactly.
love that you're breaking down all of these barriers. It just makes me excited and I want to vote for you. Are you running for
So
anything?
soon, soon. But
Soon,
I
okay.
brought this tiara. This is an image that I look at daily, and it helps me to redefine my thinking daily. It's so easy, and I'll just leave this up while I'm talking about this point. It's so easy to become pigeonholed and just in getting the day-to-day done and having this mentality of, man, if I could just earn a six-figure income, my troubles would be over and I would call that success. What about thinking of success without limitation?
Mm-hmm.
What about thinking of success from the standpoint of, I like to use a term called queendom. In the queendom, I have absolute autonomy, absolute authority. And let me qualify that. I believe now, I heard some women speak about faith on here, so it sounds like this platform is open to that. And I'll qualify it. In Genesis, we read where women and men, Adam and Eve, are created equally in the sight of God. But when we look at when he calls them to have dominion, Amy, he never
Mm-hmm.
said, Adam, you can have this dominion, but Eve, I'll only give you this dominion. He said,
Mm-hmm.
both of them have dominion. Both of you rule. Both of you dominate your environment. And I think if we go back to that mindset, nobody dominates the queen. The
Mm-hmm.
queen has authority, the queen has power. And so when we think about our enterprises in that way, when we tap into our creative energy, and I almost hate that creative, I believe it's spirit, right? When we tap into our creative power, Amy, and I guess you can tell I get super excited about this.
I love it. Keep
We
going.
get,
Preach on.
but we get the opportunity to break the molds. And here is my point. If I don't define my limitation, then I'm not going to vote for someone who's putting limitations on me. If
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a limitation in my earnings capacity, then I'm not going to put those limitations on my business. So here's my point. If I have a parent, and I want to qualify that, yes, we need goals. Yes, we need benchmarks. That's not what we're saying. But what we're saying is redefining what success is. It's no longer in the boardroom making six figures. It's about having a full, well-rounded life and having full ownership of your humanity. I
Mm-hmm.
often say, Amy, that the last civil rights movement will be an economic movement for women. And what I mean by that is the full dollar for full effort. When I go to work, whether it's for myself or for someone else, all of me is engaged. My mind, my body, my spirit, my energy, my talents, my gifts, my experiences, all of me is engaged. And we define a figure to that effort. Well, if I'm not meeting the figure for the effort, does it make me less human?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't know if we even thought about that. All of me is coming, but if I don't get the full ROI, I don't get the full rate of return, if I don't get the full benefit of my effort, then I'm not fully human in that. Humanity is defined as having the space to be authentic, to be intellectual, to think, to make decisions, to decide. That's what separates us from the animal kingdom. But if I'm
Right.
not having, do you understand what I'm trying to communicate? If I don't have full access to that, which is leveraged or given to me or measured by my economic power, then what am I doing here? Now, some people may say, well, that's an abstract way of thinking of things. Well, that's fine. That's my way of thinking. But I believe this: economics, finances give access, it gives power, it gives voice. You can be as passionate as you want to be about your enterprise or about your cause, but until you can fully galvanize it and mobilize it and put some money behind it to expand it, then all you are is passionate in a corner. What's going to
Mhm.
change for women is when we really start to galvanize and do something I call cooperative economics.
Okay, I want to pause you and have them write that down, because
Okay.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I get so frustrated watching the most amazing, inspired women who have the answer and the solution
Yes.
in their business, right? Like it would solve the problems, but they have not monetized it and they feel guilty monetizing it. And so
Oh,
they're undercharging for their services. And as a result, they are not making impact. And what you just said there is you have to have money behind it. Otherwise, you are not reaching the impact potential. And I hope that that stings a little bit. I hope that that
it's
raises
meant
some,
to.
like ruffles some feathers.
It's
If
meant
you're
to.
sitting there with a great mission and a great cause and
Yeah.
no cash, like that should sting. You have more impact to leave. I just wanted to pull that out because I think that's so powerful.
Thank you. And again, my platform is real estate investing. And here is why, to further delve into that. And here's why I chose real estate investing. As a divorced mother of two children who were full of potential, I had to make some pretty difficult decisions quickly about how I was going to redefine success is in family. And I had to develop these systems of creating my own wealth, which is where my mantra, create your own economy, came from. But as I began to delve into the world of real estate, it expanded for me. So I noticed that my property taxes now have an impact on the resources in the ISDs, where either my renters or my children are going to school. And that gave me voice now in what happens on the school board. I am that parent or that advocate, and I won't name the ISD, but they will tell you they have seen me in those meetings saying, wait a minute, I've paid property taxes. I want to know
Mhm.
what's happening with the after school program. What's going on with the STEM programs for girls? What's going on with a literacy program? What's going on with all this? You're getting the tax dollars. Now
Mhm.
I want accountability for my dollars. And here is where, again, we have to change what we call women's leadership. It really is being responsible and accountable for what happens around you. We do business in our various communities and we're benefiting in some way economically. But then we have to turn around and reinvest that benefit right back where we're doing business. And it's cyclical. The more
Mhm.
money we make, the more accountable we are for the lives that we impact. So it's not just about bringing home my dollars. It is definitely about that. But that's what my pastor says, it's correct, but it's not complete. So yes,
Mhm.
we should monetize. Yes, we should charge what our service is worth. But then let's think about now, how can we create this synergy of goodness around us? When I do business in a particular market, Amy, I look for women who do contracting.
Mhm.
Why? We don't have enough women contractors. Talk about women's leadership. When I'm thinking about having plans drawn up for a new multifamily, I'm going to look for a woman who understands those drawings. I'm going to search her out first because I want my dollars to have an impact on her life.
Mhm.
I'm serious about it. I'm passionate about it. And it goes into my philosophy of cooperative economics. Now, I'm going to always look for the most qualified person, but you can't make me believe there's not a woman out there who's more than qualified for what I'm looking for. I just have to be
Well, and I
diligent
got to
to
add
find it.
one thing in there too.
Yeah.
The other thing that we need to do is we need to stop trying to talk each other down in prices because
Would
we
you
have a
please?
sad story.
Would you please?
Yeah, we need to quit saying like, well, but I'm a mom and blah, blah,
Mm-mm,
blah. So can I get it? No,
mm-mm.
you're a woman. I'm a woman. Pay your big girl fees. Like,
It is
stop
what
doing
it
that.
is.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And since it's mine, I have ascribed a value to that. Now, that's another conversation, but I think that's what you're saying. It's mine. I've ascribed a value. If you want what I have, and evidently you do, you see the superiority in my brand, you see my accountability, you see my customer service, you see the expertise in what I bring to the table. That took time and investment for me to give you that. So I'm going to ascribe a value to that. And if you wanted subpar, you would have searched out subpar, but you didn't. You found me.
Right.
So pay the big girl prices for the big girl service you're going to get. And let's be big girls in this community together. And
I
to me,
love it.
also go into mutual respect, right? And that's a whole
Yes,
nother conversation. But
it
it's really
is. And we need to have it. We're going to have you come on our podcast too, because we just, yes, yes, and yes. So
come on with it, Amy.
anyway, we are out of time for now, but oh my
I
goodness,
figured it.
I definitely want to stay connected. This is a bigger
Please.
conversation than we have space for in 15 minutes, but
Yes.
we will definitely, Monica and I are going to reach out and have you come back on the
I would love
podcast
it. I
because
would love it.
it's such, and I hope that all of you are listening, and I hope that you're really hearing the message, which is that if we want more as women entrepreneurs, we have to create that and just like take the limits off. I love it. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. So
Take
thank
the
you so
brakes
much for
off.
being on. Will you please tell everybody where to get connected with you and where they should go next? Because they're digging on you. There's a lot of great comments in there.
Well, thank you. So a couple of ways, and there are a couple of things I'm giving away. So you can find me on all the social media platforms. My tag is Ms. Mogul or Charity, Miss Mogul. You can find me LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook, of course. Anywhere, just about. I'm on Instagram. You can find me, and please reach out. I would love to talk to anybody who wants to have the conversation. I'm giving away a couple of things to Amy. I wanted to, because my platform is real estate investing. If you will go to Miss Mogul's 30-day, I want to make sure I give it to you right, just so you can look it up. For those women who want to diversify your income in real estate investing, Ms. Mogul's 30-day real estate wholesaling kit. I have checklists and assessments out there to help you start your real estate investing career. You can create your own economy, and I can show you how you can do it without a bank. So you really want to know about that. And
Awesome.
also get the book. If you get the book, I will sign it for you. Sign up today for a one-on-one or the one-on-one training or the Pick Her Brain, and mention this summit, you get all of your prices slashed. So all of that's being offered today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.